What's going on, golf addicts? DB here. It is RBC Canadian Open week. It's an ugly field after the first maybe 8 or 10 guys, but I'm here to give you three DFS sleepers in DraftKings, in FanDuel, whatever, that I think will give you a little bit of ownership leverage, which is key to winning some decent money in GPPs and tournaments in DFS. All right. So I'm going to give you three plays that are all in the 7K range. I'm going to start with the most expensive one around 7.6, and I'm going to give you the last one. It's about $7,200. Give you some reasons. I'm going to share my screen on Fantasy National, show you what I'm looking at, and we will get right into it. Let's go. I'm going to start off with a South African who's actually been on the podcast before. Very interesting interview for a guy that doesn't get a lot of press, doesn't get a lot of media, we don't know a lot about. His interview is interesting. In fact, he's a very cheap MFer. He talked about how cheap he was when he won his first golf tournament on the PGA Tour. He splurged and bought himself a PlayStation. Like, the guy's a real penny pincher. Interesting cat. You can check that out on the Tour Junkies podcast. It's old, so bear with the audio, but there you go. It's Dillon Fratelli, the South African. And listen, he's 7,600. He's projected around 4% on DFS. Early projections. This is early Tuesday morning, is where I'm seeing him at around 4%, which I think is going to be a great value for him. I want to share my screen and take a look at Dillon Fratelli. Look at his player card on Fantasy National. Now, you may not know this, but Dillon Fratelli is a long hitter, very long hitter. Swing speed is up there. Okay, so he's probably not the most accurate guy in the world, but he's going to be clubbing down here, I believe. We're already getting some early intel from some of our caddy friends that are walking the grounds at St. George's Golf and Country Club. You know, it's a course we haven't seen since 2010, and they renovated it in 2014. So we don't really know a lot about the course, but from what we do know, it's probably more of a precision type accuracy golf course. From what I've heard early, the rough is rather juicy on the golf course. Now, the PGA Tour has a tendency to cut down the rough like Wednesday night before the tournament starts, which is very annoying, but they tend to do that. We don't know if they're going to do that this week or not, but I'm hearing it's juicy. And it could be a problem if you're not in the fairway, which will mean Dillon will likely be clubbing down, which for some bombers, I don't love that because it takes away their biggest edge. But Dillon's been doing a lot of things pretty good here lately. As you can see, he kind of gained strokes just across the board in average or difficult or easy conditions. The wind is starting to pick up. The projected wind uh, gusts or what have you on Thursday and Friday have started to escalate above 20 miles an hour. He's decent in windy conditions. But let's take a look at the player card. I mean, you can see short term and long term, he's a tee to green machine. Like, the guy's always been very solid tee to green. It's not very consistent. We'd love to see it more consistent. If it were, he'd be playing a lot better. But he's a PGA Tour winner. Okay. What did he win? He won. Oh yeah, he won the John Deere. He's got two top five finishes in major championships. But here recently, we can see like he's been very consistent in terms of making cuts in his last few events. Now, obviously, it's 7,400. We want him to 7,600. We want him to do more than make cuts. But he does have, to me, he does have some real upside here. I mean, a 16th place at the Honda in a much stronger field, tough golf course, is pretty solid. 26th at the Genesis at Riviera, another tough golf course with a strong 24th at Pebble, 8th at Valero. I like, he's making the cut at Wells Fargo. Obviously, the putter was really bad there, lost 4 strokes putting. But typically, he's been a very good scrambler around the greens when he does miss. But I like that we're seeing a lot of green here with the irons. And likely why we're not seeing a lot of green here off the tee is he just sprays it all over the place. Let's look at his distance and accuracy page here on Fantasy National. Yeah, I mean, you can see like he gains distance almost every event, but he just doesn't hit the fairway. Which here again, I don't see him hitting a ton of drivers in that scenario. Could be wrong, but this guy to me is very much a GPP play where you can have high upside. What am I looking at? Very high upside player. I mean, I think top 10 upside for sure in a field like this for Fratelli is not out of the question. Um, so I think the floor for him is pretty solid. He's been making a lot of cuts. He's been solid. He's not playing in the U.S. Open. In fact, none of the three players that I am going to tell you about today have qualified for the U.S. Open. So I like that in the sense that this event means a lot more to them, right? They all three of these guys need FedEx Cup points. Now, Fratelli's probably not in danger of losing his card. He's made plenty of cuts and he's had some top 30s or whatever. But none of these guys are really in great danger of losing their card. but the FedEx Cup points will certainly help with their standing here at the end of the year. So they're focused on the RBC Canadian. They're not thinking about next week, thinking ahead. All right, that's the first play. Before I get to the second play, I have a question. Pat and I, Ben, Chalk Bomb Ben, we're 5 other guys, 8 guys total, are leaving for Scotland here in just a couple days. We leave Friday morning, going to Scotland golf trip that we had planned in the summer of 2020 that obviously got pushed back. We can't wait. It's our first time to Scotland. So my question is for you in the YouTube comments. Have you ever been to Scotland and played golf? If you have, give us a tip. Give us something we have to do, something we don't need to do, somewhere we need to eat, something we need to drink, or make sure we eat or don't eat or drink. Just give us a tip. And if you haven't been to Scotland, what's like your favorite golf trip tip or buddy's trip thing that you do or don't do? Give us some insight. We'd love to see that. And give us a like and a subscribe here on the YouTube channel if you don't mind. And share it with a buddy. Sharing it with people, spreading the TJ gospel is the greatest thing you can do to help us out. So if you enjoy our content, do that for us, please. All right, let's get to the second pick, and it's right there below him at $7,500. It's Alex Smalley, projected around 6% on Fantasy National for now. Like I said, as of early on Tuesday. Let's take a look at Alex Smalley's player card. Again, similar to Dillon Fratelli, Smalley's a bomber. Likely going to be clubbing down out here. Probably has a little better accuracy numbers than, say, Dillon Fratelli. Good greens and regulation numbers over his rolling 12 months. And well, he's a rookie on the PGA Tour. So before we dive too deep into the strokes game, let's just take a peek at his distance accuracy numbers. You can see he's actually a much better total driver. I mean, when you see green all the way down this column, obviously that's driving distance, but you see a good bit of green here, like he's a pretty good total driver, which is that can come in really handy. If he's on with the driver at a course where a lot of bombers are having to club down, and he can get that driver in the fairway with his added distance, that could be very dangerous. If he's not as on with the driver, then he'll just club down with the rest of the bombers, and he'll probably find himself hitting to similar spots as all the short hitters. And then from there, it's an iron and putting contest. But let's go back to the strokes gained summary for Alex Smalley, rookie on the PGA Tour. Like I said, has not qualified for the U.S. Open. Putting seems to be an issue for him. Can gain strokes in moderate or windy conditions. We like that's what we're going to see a lot of. Obviously, Smalley is the short game is what really holds him back. But on weeks where the short game kind of pops for him, look at his upside. I mean, here it is here. I don't know what the strokes gain data was there, but I'm sure it wasn't terrible for the finish runner up at the Mexico Open. He happened to gain 2.4 strokes putting, and that helped him out. Obviously, he had a pretty good ball striking week that week. But you can see, off the tees, gaining strokes, the irons have been trending. I like seeing this kind of green with the irons over the last few events. 27th at the Charles Schwab, missed the cut at Memorial. That's a tough place, strong field, but still gain strokes with the irons. That's helpful. He's likely to gain strokes off the tee here, very likely to gain strokes off the tee. So events where he doesn't, seemingly outlier events. But I like that this iron play has been consistent for the young rookie. I mean, you can see since he started on the PGA Tour this season, back in 2021, he's had some decent finishes. I mean, 12th, 15th, 25th at the Amex, second at Punta Cana, 6th at Mexico, 27th at Colonial. Those are solid finishes for a rookie on tour. And again, probably very motivated to play well in this week and get those FedEx Cup points. That's what he needs. And I like the 6% ownership with upside for the rookie. Alex Smalley's a solid play there in the mid 7K range. All right, before I get to my last play, I got to give a shout out and a thank you to our sponsor at Front Nine Coffee. It's small batch artisan coffee made to order. So when you go on the website and you order, you're going to pick your flavor profile. You're going to pick whether you want whole bean or you want to go ahead and grind it coarse or fine grind. You're going to, and when you order it, then they're going to roast it. So it's not already roasted, waiting on you, getting stale, like your grocery store stuff that just sits on the shelf, right? They're going to roast it when you order it. And then within a couple of days, they're going to ship it to your door anywhere in the US or Canada. You usually get to you in a few days. And it's going to be way more fresh than what you're used to getting. And it tastes delicious. And Front Nine Coffee is based here in Augusta, Georgia. It's a brand new company. We're really thrilled to partner with them. And they've partnered with us for a long-term deal here. And they're even going to be a part of our live golf event in September. They're going to do the coffee takeover for the whole golf course for those 2 days. They're going to be making coffee cocktails in the evening. So really stepping in and on the very first go, really supporting the Tour Junkies, and we greatly appreciate that. So give them some love. Head to front9coffee.com and use promo code TJ10 when you order to get 10% off your entire order. Don't forget, you can keep using that. So if you order again, you can still use TJ10. So shout out to Front Nine Coffee and give them some love. All right, the next play for me is a guy who's a friend of the podcast. He's also been on the podcast. We talk to his caddy all the time. JT Poston at 7,200 is projected around 7%. I mean, JT this feels like a wonderful opportunity for JT Poston to get a second PGA Tour victory, which he was very close to doing last year when Seamus Power won whatever event that was. I can't remember, but JT is a winner on the PGA Tour, proven winner. Definitely more of an accuracy, precision type kind of player. Doesn't love courses where you got to hit it forever. Tends to hit a lot of fairways, and he's got a great short game. Gain strokes in windy conditions, love that. And gain strokes putting no matter the surface. So obviously we're not on Bermuda, which is his best surface, but I mean he's an incredible putter. And I like what I'm seeing off the tee and the iron play. Like, look how solid the iron play's been, despite some of the missed cuts in there. He's not been scrambling very well. That's been part of his problem. But if you look like the beginning of this year, like here's 2022, beginning of the year, like look at how much red is in the iron play category. And then starting really with Valero, the irons have been kind of back. I know he's been working on it with his coach lately, and it feels like the results are starting to show up. And when he gets to a golf course that suits his style of play and doesn't require you to hit it 5 miles, look what he does. Like, here's Heritage, where and his recent form coming into the Heritage, 41st, miscut, 42nd, I mean, it wasn't good. And then boom, a third place finish because he gets to a place where, look at he can gain 4.2 strokes. That's crazy. Like, he doesn't normally do that because he doesn't have the pop in the bat to get that done. Then he goes to Mexico with freaking fairways, 6 miles wide, and guys bombing it everywhere. Cameron Champ's actually having a good week. He misses the cut because he can't do much from there. And then he goes back to Wells Fargo at TPC Potomac, another course I think is similar to this one at St. George's, that's going to reward more precision, being in the fairway, hitting into small greens, and he finishes ninth and gains more strokes off the tee. Finished 37th at Memorial just last week. I really think JT is primed to have another good week. He just missed U.S. Open qualifying. That's the one thing I don't love about him. He did play 36 holes yesterday in the longest day of golf, and he fell one shot shy of qualifying for the U.S. Open. It sucks, but listen, he's got to focus on the RBC Canadian Open now. He has to be fully focused, and he's got to have a good finish here. I haven't done this, so this may be bad for me to do, but I just want to look at his peak strokes gained off the tee tournaments, because that 4.2 really stands out to me. He doesn't normally gain that many strokes off the tee, but when we look at it, 4.9 Barbasol, I don't really remember much about that golf course. Here's the RSM in Sea Island, another course that doesn't require necessarily you to bomb it. Wells Fargo, the TPC Potomac down here, another RBC Heritage Week where he finished great. Definitely tends to gain strokes off the tee when it comes to courses that don't demand you hit it 6 miles. So JT Poston, 7,200, projected around 72%. Alex Smalley at 7,500, around 6%. And Dillon Fratelli, 7,600, around 4%. 3 DFS sleepers, 3 pivot plays in that 7K range. I don't love the 6K range this week. So for me, I'm going to be living in the 7K spot. These 3 names, I think, will really allow you to eat some chalk if you want to, up in the 8, 9, and 10K range, and give you plenty of leverage with upside. I mean, I think JT Poston and Dillon Fratelli's upside is seriously a victory here. I just do. Maybe more so Poston than Fratelli, but Fratelli has top 10 upside for sure. And I think Alex Smalley has top 10, top 15 upside. So that's what you need in these plays, these low-owned guys with real opportunities to pop. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check out Front Nine Coffee. Drop me a comment on the golf trip advice, or what you like to do, or what we need to see in Scotland. And keep checking out the content this week and next week for the U.S. Open here on the YouTube channel. It's going to be a great week. And listen, may your screens be green. See ya.